we go to lunch with him, and Matt tells Tate he wants to sell the business, and next week, wasn't next thing you know, but over the 3 to 6 months, you bought the business.
Because the reality is, like, there's a million things that I could be doing. There's a million things each of you could be doing. And sometimes that can be overwhelming to be like, yeah, well, I could be doing anything. So what is that?
There's so much terrible stuff online and on social media. It's refreshing when others aren't afraid to share the good things in their life, the vulnerable things in their life, the real things in their life.
I feel like I've always struggled on the deeper connections, and for whatever reason, there's kind of a wall there, and I know it's mostly on me.
If you believe that you can get clear on something by thinking about it more, you are kidding yourself. Like, you're lying to yourself. You got to go take action.
Welcome to the Everyday Leader Podcast. Leadership is a choice. Join me, Matt, and my co-hosts Drew and Tate each episode as we break down how to lead powerfully in your family, team, and organization.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Everyday Leader Podcast. Drew and Tate are smiling because of the conversations we're having before we hit record today. And look, we're really excited actually for this episode. And our commitment for this episode is to just be as and always, right? And today especially, be as authentic as possible about why we've been doing this, why we want to keep doing this, as we reflect on about a year since we started the podcast. So excited to jump into this, and again, our commitment is to be authentic and to serve all of you as listeners and share things that are real for us, and things that we have found to be useful in our leadership journey and in our efforts to be leaders and show up as leaders every day. So what's present for you guys, Drew and Tate?
I think it's exciting that we're 1 year into this project, that it hasn't fizzled out or died. And so I'm excited, that we've stayed committed to it, and to our listener or listeners, whether it's just our moms or or others who are listening to this. Thank you. Thank you for listening to us and following along and sending us support and telling us about the episodes you're listening to. I think that's been really exciting, and it's been a year for each of us. Like, we've all been through a lot of different things. Where we were 1 year ago, I think, was very different from where the three of us are today. And so it's been fun to be documenting a little portion of our life as we do this.
Mm-hmm. I guess the thought that's coming to me, and it's going to kind of turn into more of a question than a thought, but I think it'd be kind of cool for each one of us to share kind of how we ended up even doing this, and kind of the story. And
I'll start first on that. So the title of our podcast is The Everyday Leader. And I talk a lot about this when I'm on podcasts talking about sales, because I'm going by the Everyday Sales Leader. I love, one, the idea of every day, just like anyone can be a leader. And two, along with sales, I feel like I've hid at times from being a leader or feeling like a leader or being a salesperson. And so I think I've come to realize, hey, no, I am a leader, and I can inspire, and I can help others. And I want others to feel the same way, that they can do that too, that you don't have to have a huge Instagram following. You don't have to, have made it in the eyes of the world to actually go out and help others and share things that are great and useful. So I think that's what led me into it. I know part of it was conversations Matt and I were having, saying, why don't we record what we're having these great conversations? Why don't we just record them? And I think there is some of that with you and the two of you to also.
yeah.
Yeah. So when I think back to what had me want to start this and what has me want to continue it, I sometimes, just in the different areas of my life and the people I interact with, I get to hear people's stories, and that's a real honor when people share their story with you, and you get an insight into wow, people have hard things that are going on or have gone on, like hard past, like very complicated, unfair things that they go through, that we all go through. And so when I look at like, how do we make this world a better place? How do we create the world we want our kids to grow up in instead of just letting it be whatever it's going to be? I think of leadership. And I think that if the more people that are showing up every day with that mentality, like I'm a leader, I'm willing to take the lead, I know what it means to choose to be a leader and how to show up as one, that's how we actually like really have an impact and as cliche as it is, like change the world, right? And so to me, it's like I want more people to show up taking responsibility and not being victims and asking themselves like, how can I impact this situation? How can I respond powerfully? And then showing up with like to love and serve and help other people. And that's, to me, like those are the two main things about being a leader every day that we get to choose. And imagine a world where everyone was waking up every day taking on those two things. I'm responsible for how I respond, how I respond and what I create today. And I'm not waiting for anyone else to do it. It's not anyone else's fault. And how can I, love and serve and impact those around me?
Yeah, it's, for me, it was kind of a chaotic time in life. And I truly believe that sometimes those uncomfortable chaos things are when you really step into growth as an individual. And at the time, Matt was really showing up as a leader for me, and kind of like Drew and you were having great conversations, and I felt kind of we were doing the same thing. At one point, I remember telling you kind of jokingly, like, "Hey, let's start a podcast." And you're like, "Oh, matter of fact, I'm already doing that." Like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever." Then it went some months by, and I never really see or heard anything, so I just text you out of the blue one day, like, "Hey, let's start a podcast," and you're like, "Okay." So it was just cool. And, admittingly, I'll say part of this has been selfish for me from the standpoint of these conversations help me. And my hope behind all this was having conversations that I felt like would help me from a personal standpoint, but also if I was looking for me, what types of conversations could I listen to that would help me? That, getting out and letting people hear those conversations and the things that are said and thoughts and just strategies around growth and personal development and all of that. And I, like you guys have both said, it's so important to not fall into that victimhood and realize that we really are in control of our lives, even when we feel like we're not, because of external circumstances. The truth is, if you go far enough back, there's decisions you're either making or have made that have put you in the scenario you are. Obviously, there's, when you're a child, some things it's a little different, but definitely as an adult. And the minute you can realize that, man, I can make different decisions, like the control of your life comes back in a different way. And that's something I want to empower everybody to be, and not in a healthy, positive way. Not to say that any of this is negative, but for me, it was kind of selfish because these conversations help me.
And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. It's like, it's one of the paradoxes of leadership is that, it starts inside, you lead yourself first, and that's how you can more effectively lead others. And it's one of the great lies is that like taking care of ourselves is selfish, whereas it's actually like, that's actually how you get to show up better for other people when you're willing to like take care of yourself and lead yourself first. When I think of the last year, it's so crazy. So we moved, almost 700 miles away from Drew and Tate, and I was a part of a software startup, which I have never done before, which was a great experience. And I got to move to a place where no one knew anything about me. And that was fun because everyone that I was around every day was only experiencing me as what they were, like what they were getting from me right then.
Mhm.
And that was really fun. I When I think about, for everything that I still am unclear on, I'm grateful for clarity recently around, like, and there are 3 Bs, and that won't surprise anyone who's ever, like, spent a lot of time. I could tell you about the 3 As, I can tell you about the 3 Cs, I can tell you about the 3 Ps. Like, if I got something to say, I'm gonna have it in represented by 3 of the same letter. And right now, it's 3 Bs, and I feel like recently it's like this. I feel called to just, like, be really present with in my community and in my family and in my congregation, and like just right here, like around me. Um and the way it's been occurring to me is like business, baseball, and building the kingdom. And it's been fun, and that's helped me have clarity and show up as a leader every day in those areas and be present. Um because the reality is, like, there's a million things that I could be doing. There's a million things each of you could be doing. And sometimes that can be overwhelming to be like, yeah, well, I could be doing anything. So what is that? And so I've been grateful for that clarity, and just to be able to then look at it through, like, okay, in the lens of like business and my family, like, what does that look like? How can I show up there powerfully? And then,
Mhm.
like, with baseball and the boys that are on our team and the impact we want to have on them, like, what does that look like? And then with building the kingdom, like, that's just one way to say it that starts with a B. Ultimately, that's just like, how am I going to help people feel the love of Jesus Christ, like, on a
Right.
daily basis, and invite them to come and experience the freedom and peace and joy that he offers everyone, regardless of anything. So there's still much I don't feel clear on, and I'm really grateful for that clarity right now. And that, like, this podcast and this platform is a way for me to really, like, talk about and share experiences in all of those areas. And
Mhm.
yeah, I hope that they're useful to people.
So, not to do exactly the same thing, but the thought that's coming to my mind right now is I think it'd be fun for everybody to kind of go through and summarize what major changes have happened in their life over the last year.
Yeah. We kind of heard that from Matt a little bit.
Yeah. And I think there's probably even still more than you touched on if you really tried to, bullet point it and say, I left a job, I moved, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I can do that real quick, and then it would be fun to hear that from all of you too. Yeah. So leaving, like, a job or a working situation, moving 700 miles away into a house we'd never seen before, um, homeschooling our kids, having them go back to public school. Um, let's see what else. Being a part of a software startup, and then stepping out of the software startup. As it got going, and realizing, like, okay, that was awesome. I still care about the mission, and, like, what that business is asking of me is not really what I'm good at or want to be doing or energizes me. And then being able to work through that and rearrange that has been actually really cool.
Mhm.
And now to looking at, okay, how do we start or acquire businesses that we can run as a family? And that sounds really cool. And that's a lot of layers of stuff and emotions and intertwining of past experiences, and I'm still committed to it, and it's still fun, and it's not like it's easy or
Mhm.
super without challenges. So, and that's honestly, like, that's exciting. That's why the logo is the mountain, right? Because it's a climb. That's where all the joy is in the journey and the peaks and the valleys. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it's fun. I still take full responsibility, of course. Like, everything about my life is exactly the way it is because of what I've chosen and continue to choose.
Mhm.
And So it feels good to be in the driver's seat that way too, that like anything I don't want it to be, I can shift, I can change.
All right, Tate, tell us about
Me
Tate's
next.
last months. I'll go
So,
last.
yeah, I mean, I guess prior to starting the podcast, I had left a business that I had been in basically my entire life. So when we started the podcast, I was essentially jobless, which was fun. We were in the
Kind of
process.
full
We were
disclosure.
in the process of looking at buying another business, and you know how anybody that's been through anything like that, it's not a linear like, hey, you make an offer and you buy it like you do a house. It's buying businesses is much, I want to say messier, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more conversations, negotiations, and it's not just like a straightforward, hey. And so, you know, you work through that. And at the time, there was some back and forth on if that was really going to happen or not. And we were looking at the possibility of moving to another state to chase some other things and some other opportunities. And ultimately, we ended up buying the business we were looking at right around the first of the year. Stepping into a new business is always challenging, especially when you don't know the ins and outs. And thank God, everybody there has been very good. I've been a part of a few acquisitions, and some go better than others. Some people, you know, adapt to cultures, and sometimes you just fit the culture, and sometimes people leave because they're not part of the culture anymore. And so those are all just challenges that come with that territory. Then in the middle of all this, we were getting the news that basically my mom was getting to the end of her time. And so that was a challenging, there were a lot of challenges around that. And then ultimately my mom passed away at the end of March. And, you know, that just comes with a lot of emotions, a major change in life. My mom was just a saint of a person for a lot of people, not just her family. And, you know, from that point, it's dealing with all those emotions and everything going on, trying to be in the first year of a new business and navigating all that, and just the struggles that go along with that. And I'm sure I'm missing things, but those are really the big highlight for me. And, you know, fortunately for us as this group, we had the three of us because all of our lives were in so much change and just different things. Like I think it really took the three of us to be a part of this, to be as consistent as we did. And I'm grateful for that, because that was a big part for me, is committing to this and making it happen with the consistency and rhythm and everything that we wanted it to be. Because I think that's a big deal. I mean, that for me, that was a big commitment to do that. And so just want to say for you guys, thank you for the times that, you know, I was tied up or unavailable or whatever. And so, yeah, I think it's cool to talk about these kind of things and in this light, to just illustrate that we truly are going through life just like anybody that may be listening to this, and it's not all figured out. And we talk about ideas, and some of them we may be really good at, and some of them we may be trying to figure out how to be good at. And I think it's cool to just show that it's real. Life is real for everyone.
Well, we're glad you're
through all this. You know, the opportunity of buying the business we ended up buying came about because of this connection. Honestly, Matt, and the conversations, and it's pretty cool when you talk about things in the right circles and the right people and put things out into the world, what you're trying to do. Somebody was really looking out for us, and I thank God for that every day. So
yeah, someday we'll tell that whole story. But the owner reached out to me at trying to hire me. I told Matt about it. We go to lunch with him, and Matt tells Tate he wants to sell the business. And next week, wasn't next thing you know, but over the next 3 to 6 months, you bought the business.
Well, I was talking to Tate a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I think I'm just going to go to Home Depot and walk down the aisles.
Around the aisles.
Tate, want to buy a business?
Yeah.
Because that's where I saw Tate right after our lunch. I was in Home Depot and he walks up. I'm like, want to buy a business? And he's like, probably. So yeah, you just never know. Drew,
All
what you
right,
got?
Drew, what's happened in your life?
Oh, a lot, it seems like. Yeah, prior to starting the podcast, probably 6 months previously, I walked away from what I'd been doing the last 5 or 6 years. I had led a company in sales. I had been their top rep, then built their biggest sales team, which led the company for a couple of years, and didn't feel like the growth I wanted or the growth for my team members was going the way that I wanted. And it was a very difficult decision, one, to walk away from that because of the relationships I had there and the bonds I'd formed and the people in that business from that organization I still love and talk to today. And I decided, hey, that's not going where I want to go, and made a pivot that I thought was the right one, and it turned out it wasn't. And that was about the time we started the podcast and realized, hey, what I pivoted to do and what the organization I pivoted to wanted me to do wasn't in alignment. I think there's a lot of alignment in the purpose and the vision of the business and what I believed in, but they essentially wanted me to become an employee, and that's not what I wanted to do. And so this last year has been building everything from the ground up for me. And so that has been very challenging, very difficult, very rewarding. You know, to go from like making the most money I'd ever made in my life to like, okay, I'm starting over again. And yeah, I don't know what it's going to be each month. Like, and it's been, and I think I've had the best year of my life the last 12 months. And part of that is, I think, being grounded to a lot of the things we talk about, like talking about a choice. And just an example, I've brought this up a few times on the show, but got a real estate business and a great real estate partner that we've kind of done things on the side. We made some big investments a few months ago into our business, trying to convert a lot of our units to Airbnbs. And that hasn't gone great. And it's not that it's gone poorly, but the mine here ended some projects about the time we got finished making this investment. So we thought, hey, we're going to dump all this money and see our rents go up, and that didn't happen. We haven't continued to lose money. Then on top of that, we had like our worst month of everything going wrong ever financially last month. And it was funny because I just told my wife, well, I'm grateful I've got all this real estate so this stuff could happen. Like I can choose to mope about it and we're good. We're fine. And it's also, there's those moments of like, when the bills come due, it's like, oh my gosh, how's this going to work? I'm just going to start rambling if you guys let me talk too long, but one of the things I've always been searching for in my life is freedom. And I think a lot of times when you ask people what they want for freedom, they talk about time or they talk about money. And that's usually like the go-to. And if you try to pin someone down, well, if you couldn't say those two things, what would it be? But one thing I think we were talking about this yesterday, Tate. Was it you and me? Maybe not.
I don't know what you're about to say.
Well, what about to say? I can't remember. I was talking to someone recently about this. I've kind of realized, like, for me, I think freedom is like not feeling anxiety regardless of what's going on in my life. Like I can have freedom with money, whether I've got $1 million in the bank or $1 in the bank.
Yeah.
And
I think the conversation we were having was around financial and anxiety, that people with a little bit of money have anxiety, and so do people with a lot of money.
So do people with lots of money.
It's a different scale. And so it truly comes down to a choice on how you view it and what you're going to worry about and not. So, yeah.
So I think in some ways, selfishly, this has been good for me to have the constant interaction with the two of you, going through different things and knowing, hey, I'm not the only guy that feels crazy at times and feels like he's asking himself, what are you doing? And it's been really rewarding. Like the work I've done, the businesses I've worked with, the things I've been able to do the last 12 months, the connections I've made have been just incredible. It's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it would be cool for a few minutes if we each just share some of the things that we like through our experiences and what we've gone through, also like what we've leaned on or what we've learned or like what's been really helpful in our journey. And I would say, by the way, these aren't all going to be the same letter, although I was sitting here trying to think of how to make them that way. So sorry to disappoint. They're not going to be all the same
It's
letter.
not ABC, is it?
No, we could probably make that happen. Well, I would say like one of the things I've been thinking a lot about lately and has been a huge help for me the last year is connection. And obviously with you two and like with many other people, I've met so many great new friends and people here where we live now. And also just previous relationships that I've kept burning and a couple months ago I realized that like in a moment of just like low or rut or whatever you want to call it, that I had like at least 10 people that I knew that if I called them, A, they would answer, and B, they would listen, and like that I could like connect with them in a meaningful way. And I just think like I don't want to take that for granted. Like I'm extremely grateful for that. And yeah, like I've worked on that and I just feel really blessed that I have such amazing people in my life that I can connect with. So that's like the first thing I would say to you as a listener is like connect with people, like be real with people. And yeah, it's not easy to form a friendship, and it's worth it. Like we need each other a lot. If we're way better off together than we are alone. And so that's been huge. And within that, I would say even like, so that's kind of like connecting with friends and people outside. And then connecting with my wife and my kids has been huge as well. Like just going all in there and recognizing that like they are the most important thing to me. So like that connection is extremely important. And then connecting with God, like I can say that over the last year, there's been peaks and valleys with that as well. Like I can think of times when I felt very close to God and was intentionally drawing near to him. And there's other times where I was more distant and less intentional about that. And it's one of the things that has helped me tremendously, and is when I draw close to God. And then the last thing I would say is take action. Like it's the antidote for all stuckness. Like I learned this year again, and it's become just like crystal clear in my mind that a lot of times we try to get clear on something by thinking about it, and it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you believe that you can get clear on something by thinking about it more, you are kidding yourself. Like you're lying to yourself. You got to go take action. It doesn't mean that you quit your job tomorrow. It doesn't mean that you like do crazy things. Like I like to do crazy things. You don't have to do crazy things. Just take 10 steps or one step. Like if you wonder about something or you want to know about something or you want to change something, just like take action. It reveals what's next. It reveals if you like it. It reveals if you hate it. It reveals if it's like right for you. It reveals if it works for you. And thinking about it does not reveal that. So that would be my last takeaways from this year is like take action.
Do you want to turn that into 3 C's?
No.
Connection, Christ, choose.
Yeah. There you go.
Good stuff.
Yeah. It's trying to sort it out in my mind, and it's not sorting real well at the moment, but
I'll go while you're sorting, Tate.
okay.
I think one thing I've come to realize is just how important it is to share good things and share your voice with others. I think for me specifically, in some ways it's been really challenging to do a podcast, to be more loud and vocal on social media. I've always been a reserved person that doesn't love sharing the details of my life with people. And And I've been surprised how many actually do tell me thank you, or someone will come up to the gym and say, "Oh, I heard you talking about this on a podcast," or said, "Hey, I started sharing stuff because I saw the things you've been sharing." And I think people out there are just starving for more good things. And so if you feel like you have something good to share, like, don't be afraid to share it. And if you share it and you only see 3 likes, like, there's probably 300 other people that saw it that didn't like it or didn't say anything. And that's something I've learned, which is kind of weird about social media. What do you call them, Matt? Lurkers, the people that just they see what you're doing and never comment, never say anything, and one day randomly at the grocery store they'll talk about something you posted a year or two ago. So I think, one, just like, be willing to share. I think there's so much terrible stuff online and on social media that it's like, and I think that's what sells. And it's refreshing when others aren't afraid to share the good things in their life, the vulnerable things in their life, the real things in their life. I don't know if I have 3 like you, Matt, that I can say, like, here are my three things, but that would be one. I think the second is, and this has just been a theme of my life, and we've talked about it on the podcast, but just, what's the focus of my life? Like, really, really making sure I'm focused on what's really most important to me. And that if I say something, if I say I'm going to focus on something, or if I say something's truly important to me, it's a priority. It then is a priority. There have been times in my life where I've said, "Hey, my family's my number one thing," or "My faith's my number one thing." But if you look at how I spend my time, or where my time was truly spent, it's like, I don't think I could say it was actually a true priority. And I feel like you get your priorities right and you focus on the right things, everything else is great. Everything else is awesome.
So, honestly, starting similar to Matt's with the connection side, I feel like I've always struggled on the deeper connections. Like, I feel like I can quickly connect with somebody on kind of a surface level, and for whatever reason, you know, it kind of, there's kind of a wall there, and I know it's mostly on me to allow people or to put myself out there to get those deeper connections. And so it's brought a lot of intentionality around that for me to know that, hey, you got to put effort into this. You have to try, you have to want, you have to, all those things. And so it's been really good for me when it comes to that. One of the other things is mindset. And with that, I'm going to kind of circle into just the conversations, the positivity, the what you tell yourself constantly, what you listen to, we always hear that as kids, you are what you eat, and it means so much more. I mean, all the way down to how you study, and for those that believe in God, what kind of time you spend in that. Are you reading your Bible and then going scrolling Instagram and looking at a bunch of things you shouldn't be? Whatever it is. And or that don't further that positive message of what you're trying to accomplish. And I think it's so important to be aware of that, and keep feeding yourself and talking to yourself in that light. One of the other things is it's kind of a confidence thing, and I don't know if shame really goes with it or not, but there's so much doubt around putting yourself out there like this for a lot of people, and for me, it was I'm not as big on the other socials as Drew and Matt, but the consistency of doing this and being able to truly voice your opinion, and anybody that knows me and can get me talking knows I can talk forever about nothing. So it's fun for that. I enjoy conversation, and this is the right kind of conversation for me. And then just the consistency and commitment. I mean, we committed to doing this. We committed to being consistent about that. And that's honestly, in my opinion, that was one of the bigger, one of the first like real commitments I did. I started going to the gym a little bit before Matt moved with Tim. And then kind of in a transitional phase. I kind of got off it for a few months, but over the last year, I've been really consistent and really consistent reading my Bible, really consistent with a very core group of things. And there's also other things that I haven't been consistent in as that I want to be. And so, I'm taking the wins for what they are, starting with that, building that foundation. And for me personally, looking back, when you talk about being a leader and consistency and commitment, and some people talk about this, but the commitments to yourself almost mean more than anything else, because if you can't keep commitments to yourself, how are you going to keep commitments to other people? And that really resonates with me, because it's stupid things like, hey, I'm gonna not eat a donut this morning, and then you go eat a donut. You literally didn't do what you committed to yourself to do. And I think people look at those sometimes as just big commitments matter. It's like, no, if you can't keep the little commitments, what happens when the big commitments get uncomfortable? And so for me, just bringing that awareness and working to be more consistent, even with myself, and really putting that effort into it. I think these are just some highlights. There's a ton of good that's come out of this. And
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so, okay, as we wrap up here, one of the things that we were talking about before we hit record this morning that we want to ask of each of you that's listening, we want to have a better understanding of who is listening. Like, we know, a few relatives are, and I think my mom's probably like the top listener, and like, we know there's more people, and we want to know like who you are. We don't want to try to get anything from you or any of that. We want to serve you better, and that's part of that, is like knowing who you are, knowing what's been valuable, knowing any feedback from you. So we're just going to ask, if you're listening to this, and if you've listened to any others, or you plan on listening to any others, like, we just drop us a quick message right now. Like, get out your phone and send a message on Instagram or to drew@theeverydayleader.co, and let us know that you're here and why you're here, and if there's anything that you wish we would do different or provide. Obviously, like, there's a lot of things we could also do or provide or focus on, and we don't want to pretend like we know exactly what that is. We would rather hear from you, and if there's value that we can create for you or people that we would love to hear that. So our intention remains strong, like, to continue to deliver authentic conversations around leadership, what it looks like to show up as a leader every day, the challenges that come with that, the times when we don't, and the times when we do, and what we're learning along the journey and the climb of life and leadership. So we really appreciate each of you for joining us on the journey for the last year, and we're committed to continuing the conversations and elevating the content, elevating the value that we create through the podcast and through other projects potentially, as we hear what those could be from you. So yeah, just to echo what each of you expressed earlier, like, thank you, Drew and Tate. It's been awesome, and it's only the beginning. Like, I really do feel an increased desire to share my voice on this platform, and my voice of just like what leadership can do for the world, and what love can do for the world, and what Jesus has shown us about leadership, and how we can really take what he taught us and put it into practice in our families and in our businesses and in our communities, and make a big impact and help prepare the world for him to come back.
Yeah. No, I echo and appreciate both of you. Appreciate those who listen to the podcast. Appreciate it when you let us know. I think I'd ask the same thing Matt did. Drop us a message. Tell us what you're enjoying. Tell us what you want to see or hear more of, or Do you want more of the three of us? Do you want us to bring in certain guests? Are there people we brought on the show you want to hear more of? Let us know. So,
yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. You guys have said it all. I agree. It's been awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. And truly, as we often say at the end of our podcast, today's the day to choose to show up as a leader. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for joining us on the Everyday Leader podcast. If you're ready to take your leadership journey even further, subscribe to our weekly newsletter for more insights and practical tips. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram to stay a part of our growing community. Just follow the links in the show notes. If this episode impacted you, please help us spread the word and share the link with a friend from wherever you're listening.